Real structure, real opportunities, real leadership for young people in every community. On December 1st, vote for youth empowerment. Vote the United Workers' Party. So, you still living at your mother's home? Owning a home isn't supposed to be a dream you may reach at 45. The UWP organized a mortgage guarantee program, making it easier for young people like us to finally get our own keys. Our own home, real financing, real chances to build our future. Not when we're old, but now. On December 1st, vote for opportunity. Vote the United Workers' Party.
We are tired of sitting on the sidelines while big people make decisions that affect our future. The UWP changing that, putting young people on councils, boards, committees, giving us a real seat, a real voice, and real power in the decisions that shape this country. No more watching from outside. This time, we inside. On December 1st, vote for youth representation. Vote for the United Workers' Party.
All of us have ideas, but ideas without money goes nowhere. That's why the UWP is stepping in with up to $25,000 in grants. Real seed money for creative minds, digital hustlers, farmers, stylists, content creators, anybody ready to build something. No loans, no stress, just opportunity. On December 1st, vote for youth entrepreneurship backed by financing. Vote the United Workers' Party.
Every day, we say young people need a chance to shine. Well, the United Workers' Party is actually giving us the stage. Youth ambassadors in sports, entertainment, business, real young leaders representing St. Lucia and inspiring the rest of us. No more waiting for big people to make space. This time, it's our time. On December 1st, vote for youth empowerment. Vote the United Workers' Party.
In St. Lucia today, too many families face impossible choices. Medicine or groceries, treatment or tuition. Around the world, nations have already proven that national health coverage changes lives. The United Workers' Party will make it real here at home. National health insurance, $75,000 in coverage for every St. Lucian. No exception, no excuses. Because quality health care is not a privilege, it is your right. Save our St. Lucia. Together, we will right this wrong.
Too many young St. Lucians leave school with dreams they cannot afford to chase. That ends now. The United Workers' Party will deliver free tertiary education at Sir Arthur Lewis Community College, opening doors, unlocking potential, and giving every student a fair chance to succeed. Because when our young people rise, our nation rises with them. Together we will build a smarter and stronger St. Lucia for all with free tertiary education. Save our St. Lucia. Together we will right the wrong.
Yeah boy, we have new hospital. They can't play by my government to serve. Is now all my pains go stop. Aye.
Gasa, what you feel you doing there? You trespassing?
Oi, I just see the new hospital open and I need to see a doctor right away, Gasa. I'm in endless pain there.
Hospital open, but it ain't really open. You check it.
But how you mean? I see big opening ceremony with Prime Minister and all kind of honchos there. Even Saudi Prince Rich there. Gasa, how you mean it ain't open?
No, brother. That is just a politics thing. The place have no equipment, no doctor. But if you want to wash your clothes and you cook your food, they have a boss kitchen and laundry there, you know.
Gasa, wah! Gasa, I'm moving myself there. Morning.
Morning, Foya. Partner, don't sit down on that chair. If free legs. Nurse, can I get some water, please?
We don't have her, my boy. Ask your family to bring water for you.
Nurse, can I get a Fenzik?
We don't have either.
It's best I just do a GoFundMe, we?
Nurse, it's 2 whole days and nobody has checked me yet.
2 days alone? My boy, you just start waiting, eh?
But nurse, I'm in so much pain. I really need to see a doctor.
There are so many people there to attend to. I know you in pain, eh, but we low on staff. Look at the partner in the corner there. 2 months there waiting to get a bed. No beds available.
Nurse, I have really sharp pains and I did waiting so even breathe.
Oh gosh. Try and bear while the doctor finish making his rounds, please. Paulinas Latrinas, you need to get blood work done, but they cannot do the test here. So take this vial and go to the lab in Tong and bring it back for us, my boy.
Wow! You all can't even do a little blood test for man, Gasa? A man can't get a glass of water or a bed? Wow! Gasa, go move myself there.
Ah, yes, we can admit you and do all the necessary tests.
Finally!
Here is the breakdown of the costs. Cash or credit card, sir?
Wow! You see me? I go move myself there.
Man, long time no see.
Gasa, what are you doing with that flabo shit on you?
December 1st is elections and I voting for my health. You hear about the insurance plan Flabo want to put in? Gasa, I only paying $50 a month and all my doctor's visits, treatment, prescription, surgery, everything, Gasa. Insurance paying that. Up to $75,000 a year. And hear that, you could choose any hospital or health facility anywhere in St. Lucia to go to. Hospital, polyclinic, health center.
Any health facility?
Yeah, man! You just have to present your insurance card and they will admit you and all your bills will be paid by the insurance.
Wow! Guess I can't get nothing under this government. No hospital can't take care of me. Them fellas have no kind of plan at all. People have to check for themselves, making all kind of sponsor and raffle shit. All kind of fundraising like barbecue and western dance to get medical help. And check that, before them labor ministers sneeze, they flying them to Martinique while we there suffering. Kasa, you see me? I'm moving myself in labor. Yeah, man. I voting for UWP for my health.
For years, families in the south have been forced to pay for dam dredging at the John Compton Dam, even though they don't receive a drop of water from it. That injustice ends when the United Workers' Party returns to office. We will remove the dam dredging fee for southern residents, because you should never have to pay for a service you don't receive. Fairness, justice, respect for every St. Lucian, no matter where you live. Let's save our St. Lucia. Together, we will right the wrong.
Too many guns are slipping into our country. Too many families live with fear. The United Workers' Party will put a stop to it. We will reintroduce strong border control and expand the K9 unit. More trained dogs, more patrols, more protection. Every weapon stopped at the border is a life saved. Every bullet intercepted is a community kept safe. This is about defending our home, protecting our children, and restoring peace to St. Lucia. Let's save our St. Lucia. Together, we will right the wrong.
For too long, St. Lucians have carried
to our viewers, and welcome to another press briefing from the United Workers' Party. I'm your host this morning, Joshua Harrow, here to lead the discussions with our political leader and our deputy political leader. As we are on the eve of elections, we ask that you listen up, you pay attention, and you open your mind to truly what the United Workers' Party is saying, that St. Lucia is in trouble. And to further elaborate on the state of affairs in St. Lucia, I now call on the Deputy Political Leader of the United Workers' Party, the UWP candidate for Ansley Canaries and former Minister of Tourism, Dominic Fede, to the podium to address you this morning.
Thank you very much, Joshua. Good morning to everyone. Pleasure to be here to address you on our key economic driver, the tourism sector, which continues to play a critical role in the economic and social aspirations of our beloved country, St. Lucia. One of the hallmarks of our governance of the sector when we are elected to form the new government will be the whole area of greater economic and social penetration within the tourism industry. A more inclusive industry will be one of our banners for the next 5 years as we seek to ensure that there is greater local participation. We wouldn't only just focus on the growth for capital and profits, but we will also focus on growth for labor, for tourism employees. They too must do well. For a long time, tourism employees have clamored for better transportation. In fact, it is widespread that a number of female employees within the sector are victims of robberies, harassment on their way home from late night shifts. The United Workers' Party has done intensive consultation and has received the feedback from a number of tourism employees as it relates to their safety at nights getting home from various shifts. This has discouraged many aspiring tourism employees from getting into the sector. If we are going to provide the best of the best for the industry and to improve the enabling environment for existing tourism employees, the United Workers' Party will do the following. We will work with the transportation sector to make sure that A, we have routes that are not covered in certain communities late at nights and on public holidays and Sundays as well. We will also speak to the various players within the private sector, namely hotels and guest houses and restaurants, to make sure that the whole issue of staff transportation can be improved significantly. The perennial problem of single mothers within the industry having to go to work and at times struggling to find guardianship or babysitters, this has significantly affected a number of industry players, but also discouraged a number of aspiring single mothers from getting into the sector. Just recently, I was speaking to someone from Millet in the constituency which I seek to represent in this upcoming elections. And she told me, while asking me to help her find a job, that it was impossible for her to consider working within the tourism sector because it was felt that she lived too far. And having young children, it was impossible for her to find appropriate arrangements to take care of them at nights. The United Workers' Party, therefore, will make sure that in instances like these, we will improve the childcare services. We will expand childcare services. We will start with government-owned preschools by opening them later at nights, putting on these extra shifts so that aspiring tourism employees who are from single-parent households, like the woman I have just spoken about from Millet, will feel confident and able that she too can participate within the tourism sector. And existing employees can find this situation a lot more easier and go to work with a smile on their face, knowing that all the appropriate arrangements have been made for their children while they go out there and work for all of us, building this country, building this economy, and generating jobs and taxes and all the other economic spin-offs that come from tourism. And then there is the question of greater local participation within the arena of investment or within the arena of business. You see, our people must not only be workers of the industry, they must also be investors within the tourism sector. They must be innovators, they must be pioneers within the tourism sector, entrepreneurs. And so the United Workers' Party will continue to build on the village tourism program, which we have started, to encourage more local participation at the business ownership level within the tourism sector. I was proud to have been witness to the former Minister of Finance, Alan Shastney, the now leader of the opposition and political leader of the United Workers' Party, who then signed a $10 million loan arrangement with the CARICOM Development Fund on loan to small tourism businesses. And I remember quite well, because of COVID, we weren't able to unlend the monies. So all of the loans that we see that are going to attractions through the Community Tourism Agency, these loans were made available by the visionary leadership of Alan Shastney and the United Workers' Party. So we will continue in that vein to improve not only the financing arrangement for small tourism businesses, but to offer incentives as well. And to do what we did when we conceptualized the Anchorage project by the market, to put in the infrastructure so that aspiring tourism business owners can get commercial retail spots to rent. It is regrettable for me that the Labour Party did not open up the bed and breakfast hotel which we built in the village of Ancillary. It is regrettable that they didn't open up and to allow people to rent the restaurant facility which we built in the village of Ancillary. It is regrettable to me that the moorings that are just off the coast of Ancillary that we made available for yachts to come and to anchor and to create local business opportunities for the people of the West Coast, that did not happen. And so the United Workers' Party, upon being elected on Monday, we will fast track the implementation of these projects, creating local opportunities for business ownership, and to set it as an example, government and people working together to drive more economic growth and prosperity and wealth for the peoples of St. Lucia. Research suggests that in Jamaica, every single dollar that is generated by tourism, the Jamaican economy is able to retain 56 cents. By comparison, the Eastern Caribbean and St. Lucia is only able to retain some 20 cents on the dollar, 26 cents behind Jamaica. It then raises the whole question of how badly we're doing in the arena of tourism linkage. We must continue to drive opportunity for our people. We must leverage the wide expanse of opportunity that exists within the fastest growing industry in the world, tourism. We must make sure that we leave no stone unturned so that there could be more local penetration in the industry. In this vein, the United Workers' Party will do something very exciting, and that is the 420,000 vacation experiences that are booked by hotels, or the 800,000 experiences that are booked by cruise ships, collectively a total of 1.2 million vacation packages that are booked on the island. The commissions of these bookings are largely done externally, mostly by travel agents and tour operators and booking platforms that are owned by foreign companies. The United Workers' Party will work with the local travel agency sector so that they can increase market share and to leverage the bookings that are coming into St. Lucia first to begin with, and then to expand to the Caribbean and the wider world. And then, in addition to working with existing travel agencies to buttress growth in their businesses, we will also work with local aspiring travel agencies, local aspiring owners of booking platforms to get you into this business as well, so that you can share in the commission of the whole idea of tourism, information, and booking services to the people of the world who wish to come to our incredible and extraordinary island. We will continue to work with local taxi drivers to get incentives to upgrade your fleet, to make sure that you are competitive and you are working in tandem with the experience, with the upgrade and elevation of the tourism sector. The whole question of seasonality has come front and center in the local discussion of tourism in recent times. So we are just coming off the worst low season this country has ever seen. Statistics suggest that in the months of April, May, June, July, that the tourism cruise sector has declined by over 76% in the number of cruise arrivals. The stayover arrivals, we have seen a catastrophic decline as well, where most of the months overall have recorded a negative growth. We've seen in markets like Canada and the UK, several months are down in the double digits by as much as 20 and 25%. This means that the tourism industry is in a significant crisis. We can't push this under the rug. We have to accept that there is a problem at hand. This September, over 1,000 hotel rooms were forced to go into renovation because to hotels it was cheaper for them to close rather than to stay open. So they profit the opportunity of very low business, which was ushered in by the decimation of the airlift capacity of the country, managed by the St. Lucia Labour Party administration, and as well as a significant reduction in the direct consumer marketing of the country. That this means that several tourism employees in the month of September had as much as low as 1 day per week of work. So these hours, which were declined significantly, would have affected household income, would have affected the family's capacity to live and the family's capacity to pay their bills. Loans have backed up and people have failed to pay childcare services and other important family needs essential for the day-to-day maintenance of various families. The United Workers' Party will return the summer months to growth. We will return the worst month of the tourism year, September, to a level of acceptability where hotels and Airbnbs and boat owners and tours and attractions and restaurants can at least break even, and encourage them to continue to keep more staff on the payroll so that you, the tourism employees of the country, can continue to earn unencumbered. So, in closing, I want to register that we have got the most robust plans in this election for the revamping and the resurgence of the tourism sector, which has fallen on hard times because of a very distracted Labour Party administration, because of a government that has lost the plot when it comes to direct consumer marketing and the generation of airlift. With these words, I thank you very much.
Thank you very much to our Deputy Political Leader and candidate for Annesley Canneries and former Minister of Tourism, Dominic Fede. Our next speaker is the next Prime Minister of St. Lucia, the candidate for Micoud South, and the political leader of the United Workers' Party, the Honorable Alan Michael Chasney. And as he comes up, I want to ask this one question, and our political leader shall answer this. The Labour Party likes to spread propaganda and allegations stating that foreigners are working on our campaign. I would like to ask the political leader to clarify this. Are there foreigners working on the United Workers' Party campaign? So I now welcome Alan Michael Chasney, our political leader of the United Workers' Party, to the podium.
Good morning, and thank you very much. I will deal with the question after my presentation, if you give me such permission. Today is a very proud moment for me as the political leader of the United Workers' Party to be here making this announcement this morning. I want to thank my colleague, Mr. Dominic Fede, for the outstanding job that he did in the last term with tourism and helping to implement a vision that was started by Sir John back in 2007, which was called the Quadrant Economic Plan. That plan is the foundation of what United Workers' Party's development plan is for St. Lucia. And in essence, what that plan speaks to is that for St. Lucia to reach its full potential, we have to start looking at the country holistically and not piecemeal. And so by putting out a master plan, gives us a very clear indication of the sequence of infrastructural investments into our country. The plan obviously concentrates a lot on the physical infrastructure, but underlying that plan is the social development that's also required. Building a new highway between Vieux Fort and Rodney Bay on the East Coast, one, facilitates an ease of traffic, but more importantly, opens up virgin lands for development. And in order to ensure that we don't have unplanned development, we need to see where they're going to go and where the next new communities are going to be and take front, as we say, and build roads, put healthcare centers, put schools and major infrastructure to help guide where housing development and community development is going to go. Identifying lands that we believe that should be commercial while protecting and safeguarding our forest, safeguarding recreational facilities, and doing a very difficult job in a small island of causing residents, businesses, and tourism to coexist. Because on a small island, we are going to have to coexist. It's not sustainable when St. Lucians feel displaced by tourism, or businesses feel that there's an overcongestion and an insensitivity to how they conduct their businesses. So we have to be able to marry those two things. So this morning, we're here to talk about tourism. We often hear that in the statistics that tourism represents almost 65% of our economy. And for those who may have doubted that number, fortunately or unfortunately, during COVID, we're able to find out what the impact of losing tourism was. So while in the year 2020, the hotel industry was shut down and the world was shut down from April, and in our case until June, but the rest of the world stayed shut down pretty much for the entire year of 2020, and it was not until later in 2021 that we saw persons were allowed to travel from certain countries. We saw what the economic fallout in St. Lucia was, how many people's jobs were displaced, and the impact on government's revenues. Government's revenues dropped by 50%, almost $55 million a month of revenue was lost when the hotel sector was closed down. What we hear less often is that for every dollar that a tourist spends, only 20 to 25 cents remains on our country. That means that between the salaries, utilities, all of the revenues that tourism generates, the vast majority of it leaves St. Lucia. So if we take Loose Lake as an example, the bulk of Loose Lake's cost is fuel. Fuel is not produced in St. Lucia, so we have to import that fuel. The turbines are not made in St. Lucia. We import them. And so that money does not remain here. And the shareholding of Loose Lake, 40% of the shareholding is of foreign companies. So when you start calculating it from an economic perspective and you start looking at what we call the value added in St. Lucia, and you go around this sector, because of how and the nature of the business, we're only retaining 20%. If we look at a country like Jamaica, as my colleague pointed out, almost 50 cents of every dollar that is spent in Jamaica stays in Jamaica. What we hear less often is that less than 15% of our tourism is locally owned. So while I'm very proud, my family, to be an owner, and we look at Bay Gardens and some of the other properties that are locally owned, we only represent 15% of the entire bed stock. And that's including the Airbnbs, which are now growing, and the vast majority of Airbnbs, thankfully, are more locally owned than any other ones. We look at the restaurants and we look at attractions that St. Lucians have been able to invest in. But there's a huge opportunity for more investments by locals. The tourism pie remains huge. In the last decade, every economic crisis that's happened around the world, the financial crises, when we had climate change issues, when we had international wars, tourism has actually proven to be much more resilient as an industry than most people have anticipated. In fact, in all these instances, whether it was 9/11, the recession, the Gulf War, COVID, the industry around the world that recovered the fastest has been tourism. And that's good news for us because we tend to use words like vulnerable to describe tourism and fickle to describe tourism. But the statistics have shown us otherwise. I keep saying to all of us that St. Lucia gets today around 240,000 US arrivals. Jamaica gets 1 million US arrivals just from the tri-state. And Mexico now gets close to 50 million arrivals. So the opportunity of doubling or tripling the number of US arrivals that we have within the existing market is very easy. The question is, what do we have to do to be able to make that happen? To further complicate things, when the SLP government came in, they inherited a plan for tourism. We all knew that the Labour Party does not understand tourism, still does not understand tourism. And certainly when the leader of their party could have made an astonishing statement that after or during COVID, that is only the United Workers' Party and Alan Chastney that believed that tourism would have recovered. Those were his words. And in fact, he was calling for us to have the country remain shut during the COVID period. And for us to diversify maybe into some other sector. Well, we see now that that was just political rhetoric. That was just to be an obstructionist. Because this same government today, in their list of achievements, wants to boast about tourism. And they want to fool all of us in believing these big numbers. Well, if the tourism industry basically shut down in 2020, and you see an increase in 2021, which there was, and an increase in 2022, and an increase in 2023 coming from where we'd been shut down in COVID, the fact remains that had this government stayed on course with the plans that we had put in, we would have surpassed by now our 2019 arrivals. As we speak today, this current government has fallen 70,000 arrivals short of the 2019 number. And when we measure tourisms instead of arrivals but by bed nights, they're 15% short of where we were in 2019. COVID was a disaster. But COVID gives us an opportunity to understand the difference between United Workers' Party and the Labour Party. We saw the crisis and we figured out where the opportunities were. The opportunity lied in the fact that the world was shut down, but America was still open for business. And America was subsidizing their airlines, and the planes needed somewhere to fly. So by taking the position of coexisting with COVID and reopening our borders and allowing tourists to come here and to treat the quarantine period that we all as St. Lucians had to go through as a vacation. So could we create a product where persons could come down, stay isolated in a hotel with select number of attractions? Would that product be sufficient to get tourists to come to St. Lucia? And it turned out that we were right. And in fact, it's when St. Lucia made that model successful, the Dominican Republic, Jamaica, and Mexico reopened their borders and embraced that philosophy and did it exceedingly well. But St. Lucia was ahead. So it means that there was more planes in the world to fly and less destinations. So by having our doors open during that COVID period, it means that when people wanted to go on vacation outside of America, there was only 3 or 4 destinations to go to, of which St. Lucia was one of them. You cannot pay for that marketing opportunity. And the success of that program, we saw it. And the Labour Party has benefited significantly from that fundamental decision that we started. If Labour Party had been in office during COVID, they would have used excuses. Oh, it's COVID, can't do this, COVID, can't do that. Because we saw the same thing with the financial crisis. But United Workers' Party makes lemonade out of lemons. Under this administration, we lost multiple major airlines. So after we got American Airlines to start services out of Chicago, to start services out of Dallas, put on multiple flights a day out of Miami, and also restart services out of New York. And we got JetBlue to be able to expand. We got British Airways to expand. All that momentum has been lost. For us to understand the significance of the fallout is that in 2019, we had 14 flights a week to the United Kingdom. 14, 2 a day. Barbados had 3 flights a day, 21 flights a week. Today, as we speak, markets reopened, everything is recovering. St. Lucia's down to 5 flights a week from 14. And meanwhile, Barbados has gone to 5 flights a day. Yes, you're hearing right. We have 5 flights a week and Barbados has 5 flights a day. Within 100 miles of St. Lucia. That is the significance of the fallout. We've lost the Dallas flight. And by now we should be having a double Miami flight 365 days a year. We should be having 2 flights out of New York. Barbados, which has always lagged behind St. Lucia in the US market, is now surpassing us. St. Vincent has grown. When it comes to the cruise industry, the decision to increase the cost, the head charge from $6.50 to $12 has caused a significant shortfall in arrivals on cruise. And we've seen that the business has gone to Dominica, the business has gone to Martinique, the business has gone to St. Vincent, and the business is going to Grenada. And if that policy remains, I expect there's going to be further fallout unless there's a new administration. And the people who support the industry have benefited the least from this Labour Party. Inflation has infected us. So it means that the wages that St. Lucians are obtaining can buy less today than they could in 2019. People are worse off than they've ever been. In the area of construction, we've seen that this government has not supported local workers. That major hotels have been allowed to bring in unprecedented numbers of foreign workers into our country at a time when our people need the jobs the most, when our small construction suppliers, trucks, backhoes, any construction equipment, that are even allowing these larger hotels to bring in all of their stuff themselves. And so there is no benefit to the local economy. So while we may see a substantial increase in cement and materials coming in, but the 20 cents that we used to get, we're not even getting that under this current model. I remember when this government was in office in 2015, on the eve of election, they signed an agreement with a company to build a hotel in Vieux Fort. And in the contract allows that hotel to bring 80% of their construction workers in from outside. But even more frightening was that when it became operational, they were going to be allowed to bring in up to 50% of their workers. I say to all of us St. Lucians, right now, at least 90+%, if not more in some cases, of the jobs in the hotel sector are St. Lucians. Why would you go away from that model? In fact, what you should be doing is to improve it, not reduce it. United Workers' Party believes that tourism must work for all St. Lucians, whether it's a locally owned business, whether it's community powered, the tea villages that we are creating, in livable income. That we must remain globally competitive, and we must have something that's sustainable. So when we're putting our tourism plans together, those are the priorities: locally owned, community powered, livable income, globally competitive, and sustainable. All those things must be taken into consideration in the direction that we're going to go with tourism. We'll do this by growing the product. The number of arrivals that we have are too small, which means we have to have a greater amount of investment in the room stock and also in attractions. And we must put the people at the center of whatever our policy is going to be. How do we intend to grow the product? Is through aggressive expansion of village tourism. And village tourism is for you. Village tourism is taking the same banana model, making lands available, put all the infrastructure in, create the proper ordinances so that when we're going into a location, that it's built for success and we're not having to struggle from day one. Can't make it in terms of critical mass of the number of rooms, so what we have to do is to reduce your cost of investment and make sure that where the location is, it's ideal, next to a beach, and that we have proper ordinances so that we can make a world-class model. We must develop new tourism niches in wellness, sports, and we must grow our festivals. I hear this talk about the festivals. I'm proud of the fact that as Director of Tourism as early as 1991, saw the need for developing attractions and events. And we started the St. Lucia Jazz Festival. And we were successful initially because we were on BT TV. I'm proud of the fact that when I became Minister of Tourism in 2006, I made a quantum leap by taking, instead of $100,000 a year for Carnival, I invested $1 million. And that number has grown significantly. And we now can say, and should be saying, that the largest festival that we have is Carnival, because Groovy Soca and Power Soca and Dennery segment are ours. We can dominate the world in those genres. We have the talent. And our events are to create a platform for our producers and everybody else, the suppliers for our events, and our artists to benefit the most. And the brand of St. Lucia now succeeds when they succeed. We want to be able to have festivals all through the summer period. Not just one, but multiple festivals. Persons who are renting cars, people who have Airbnbs, people who have restaurants. It means that throughout the length and breadth of the summer, everyone's benefiting. The stage managers, all of the sound persons, everyone will be benefiting because you're going to have events right throughout the summer. Multiple events. Support local ownership with land access and financing incentives through our village tourism. Expand linkages to agriculture, to the fisheries, to creative industries, and to manufacturing. It is a must, and we must have numbers to measure how successful we're doing that. We must work with everyone to make sure that the hoteliers are not being diminished and their competitiveness not being harmed, but we're supporting them through world-class products that are being made here in St. Lucia. We have to create a digital tourism jobs, online booking, hospitality information services. When we were in government last time, we were attempting to create a sales office in St. Lucia that's making calls to the travel agents and providing support to the travel agents. And that becomes now a significant part of our sales force. No one in the industry is doing that. We will fix the system with airlift. We'll reinvest in the marketing of this country, which the government has reduced from $7 million a year to $1 million a year. Because we must put St. Lucia on the forefront of people's minds and regain our dominance from this region. That St. Lucia was one of the premier tourism destinations. That we must rebuild and expand airlift through strategic relationships. We must understand the language of the airlines, understand that we're very small in the scheme of things, and we must do the work for them to make sure that they're profitable to come to this country by fixing our airports, by making sure that their flights come on time, and making sure that we take care of their guests and that people want to come to St. Lucia. We're going to launch a proactive, data-driven global marketing strategy, and as I said, the sales force being here in St. Lucia. We are going to build a new cruise ship port in Vieux Fort. We're going to improve public access to beaches and strengthen the coastal protection. VG Beach is a classic example. The beach is being eroded. We have to find a way to create some kind of reef barrier in front of it in order to regain the beach. And that is to the benefit of St. Lucians and to the tourist. And the technology is there to be able to achieve that. Importantly, we'll put people at the center. We will ensure that tourism benefits workers, communities, and families. Direct income support for tourism workers during the off-season layoffs. During the month of September, we've seen continuously that more and more hotels are shutting down in that period. Taxi drivers, vendors, everybody's being affected. So let's take the lessons that we learned from COVID, and can we put an income support program in place to help them during that month of September? Taxi drivers, vendors, and workers that are being affected. United Workers' Party will make sure that that takes place. We'll increase the value added of jobs across the sector, expand community participation and small business development, and ensure tourism growth is shared across the villages, youth, and local entrepreneurs. So one of the more significant announcements we want to make today is that United Workers' Party was working on a minimum wage, but we realized that there are different sectors: manufacturing, agriculture, retail, and tourism. And it was difficult to find one size to fit all. So the government has put in the minimum wage, which is primarily for the retail sector. And today, I am very proud to announce that United Workers' Party, when we are elected, will work diligently, as quickly as possible, to introduce a minimum wage for the hotel sector. In our manifesto, we have protection of our workers in the sector. And let me say what it says. We will endeavor to raise the income levels of workers through collaboration with our partners in increasing the sector's value added. Provide direct income support to those workers who traditionally are either laid off or put on rotation during the month of September. That's in our manifesto. So let me add some more detail to it. Our intention is to increase the minimum wage in the hotel sector to $2,500 a month. That represents almost a tripling of the current minimum wage for the retail sector. And it add almost $1,000 a month in wages to the majority of hospitality workers in the hotel sector. There's almost 10,000 to 12,000 workers that this is going to have an impact on. And at $1,000 a month means that there's going to be an injection of over $120 million a year. That means by putting money in the workers' hands, they have $120 million a year to spend. The difference of $1,000 in a person's wage on a monthly basis is the difference between them renting a place and owning their own home. So the combination of increasing their wages and making now housing more affordable, I think that we're going to see the greatest transition of wealth of our workers in this country. Today, the national minimum wage is $1,131 a month, which is not enough to cover basic food, rent, transportation, and child care in St. Lucia. Let's think of it for a moment. And this has been a long outstanding complaint, that our workers are taking care of wealthy individuals who are coming down to St. Lucia. And all of us are human. And that's why I'm so proud of St. Lucians, to be supporting these wealthy individuals, providing them with exceptional service and understanding the benefit to all of us. But it must be difficult to see the lavish lifestyles that many of these tourists live, which is alien to the vast majority to the people of this country. We must raise the standard in tourism and follow the mentorship, the motto of Ritz-Carlton, one of the most successful. And it says, ladies and gentlemen, being served by ladies and gentlemen. What do we mean by that? That we need to see equity. We need to see that our workers are earning enough money for a home, earning enough money to travel, and for themselves to have an appreciation of what it is to be a tourist. Many of our workers go through their life never knowing what it is to be a tourist, but yet having to work in the tourism industry. That must change, and that change with this step today, understanding that the greatest value added in our economy of this country is by increasing the salaries of our workers. And I want to say to the workers of this country, the threshold is high, because when we look at what persons earn in Barbados, when we look at what persons are earning in Bahamas or Cayman Islands or Singapore, instead of comparing ourselves to Mexico and the Dominican Republic, we have to find a way to make sure that persons working in the industry are well compensated, and that compensation has to be of a standard that they can be ladies and gentlemen themselves. Our vision keeps tourism dollars in the country and in our people's pockets. United Workers' Party has always believed that individuals make better decisions than governments. So the intention is to take revenues that are coming into the government, transfer them now into the pockets of the workers of this country. It cannot be that the workers of this country are trying to carry the burden of our lack of global competitiveness by themselves. It's not going to work. And United Workers' Party believes the time is now, given everything that's taken place in the world, to make a commitment to the thousands of workers and the thousands of families that are benefiting. United Workers' Party will balance ownership from foreign corporations with local people. We want to see the combination of salaries and ownership increase for locals. So we want to see salaries going up, but we also want to see St. Lucian's participation and trust in this industry to grow. And our role is like what happened with the banana sector, is to provide the support mechanisms to take out some of the risk of this industry. We will turn tourism into an attractive pathway for the middle class, not a dead end. On the United Workers' Party, tourism will be for the people, by the people. And it starts now by recognizing the important contribution that the workers make, raising that minimum wage to $2,500 a month, and then doing everything we can to improve the training, and that is only the first step. Our goal is to continuously increase the salaries in the sector, because this sector is an international sector. Working in St. Lucia with tourism means that we are an international business, and it can afford to pay it. But we need to change how we tax this industry, how we manage the industry, to create greater efficiencies so that the workers of this country can benefit more from this industry. Thank you very much, and I'm glad to be here today on this amazing announcement. It's a new beginning for tourism. It's the beginning on December 2nd of a new dawn for St. Lucia, both of which are going to redound to the benefit of all St. Lucians. So I'm open to any questions you may have, Ms. Oh, there was a question that was asked of me about, I think it was the Ernest Hilaire, who was suggesting that we're the party that has foreigners working for us. The last time I checked on their webpage, they had a company from Romania, a company from Panama, and a company from India working with them on their campaign. So I would say to you that they need to look into the mirror and ask themselves that question as to why is it okay for them to have foreigners participating, and want to make the allegation as if we're the only ones who are doing that. Clearly, this election cycle has confirmed two things. One, there needs to be a Public Information Act so that the hiding of the GPH contracts, the hiding of the CIP contracts, the hiding of what's taking place at the halls of justice, what's taking place even at Dyer Mall with the rents, what is taking place at NLA should be a thing of the past. The public should know that information. And if in fact it was such a good deal, we would have expected the government to have put it out. This is an important juncture in our term. And we need to know that campaign financing needs to be addressed. The amount of money that's being spent on this campaign by the Labour Party, one must ask themselves, where is this money coming from? And what are the favors that are being asked in exchange for all of this money? And is this really democracy? Where are the policy debates? How is the St. Lucian population to decipher between the right and wrong? And this is where civil society and other groups have to play a more meaningful role. And when we understand the concept of treating is where a government does things to try to influence votes. We've seen that's what's taken place at SSDF. We saw what's taken place recently, making public servants permanent and the whole public pronunciation of that. And then we see a cabinet memo that came out on November 28th, giving things to the police almost as a reaction to giving the police officers and the fire officers what they've always wanted, a solution to the retirement age at 55, and to be treated fairly and to be compensated for the risk that they are going through every single day, putting their lives at risk for us. United Workers' Party has recognized their contribution and has given a commitment to allow them, if they want to retire at the age of 55 and get a one-time gratuity, or they can stay on until they're 65. But it's their choice as to what they want to do, both the police officers and the firemen, and that we must introduce a hazard insurance like we have for the police officers and for the firemen. If they're injured or unfortunately killed on job, that both themselves and their families can get some level of compensation, because nothing existed before. I'm proud that we've done that. The last thing I'd like to be able to maybe contribute on that issue, I'm also proud of the fact that when we came into government in 2016, we amended the law that all public officers, including the politicians, there would no be longer a time barred in terms of holding them accountable for any forms of corruption. I did that on the first parliamentary meeting, so it means it took effect before we began in 2016. And let us now know, all of the allegations that were made by the Labour Party while they were in opposition of corruption, they have not provided one shred of evidence. But in fact, if we look at today, the evidence that has been presented, the contracts from the CIP, what is taking place at the NLA, and we know where some of that money has gone or not gone. The selling of the Bonanza land for $2.7 million that was never put out to bid, land that has a value of over $40 million, $60 million. No answers. On not one of the meetings has the Labour Party offered anyone an excuse, an explanation as to what has transpired. We need reform in this country. We need a new beginning in this country. We need the beginning of a new dawn in this country. That can happen on December 1st, and as of December 2nd, it will happen on the United Workers' Party. Thank you.
Thank you to our political leader and the next Prime Minister of St. Lucia, the Honorable Alan Michael Shastney. As we wrap up our press briefing, we want you to remind you, do not fall for the propaganda. Stand strong, stand tall. Yellow is the code, and put the X next to the Flubbo symbol on election day. We wish you safety, we wish you hope and grace, and elect the United Workers' Party as the next government of St. Lucia. Thank you, and have a nice day.
The weight of a tax that was only meant to last 2 years. The 2.5% levy has eaten into every paycheck, raised the cost of groceries, and made life harder for families already struggling. The United Workers' Party will remove it from day one. No more broken promises. That